Hi everyone, this is Jessica WCR with another webinar. We have Curt here who's going to tell you a little bit about implementing software into your business, and he's going to be focusing on ResponsiBid. So let's get started.
All right, cool.
When did you start your window cleaning company?
5-Star Window Care started 2006. I was going to start a bicycle shop, and through a series of kind of interesting events, my bicycle shop ended up, just before I almost opened the doors, I actually converted it to a window cleaning company. We just knew that we wanted to be a customer service company, and we didn't know what we were going to do at first, but as I learned the ropes in the industry, I fell in love with the window cleaning world, and the rest is all history.
When did you start building ResponsiBid?
ResponsiBid was basically something that at 5-Star Window Care I kind of started doing it right around 2008. I started building some online forms that kind of started collecting the information I needed for the bidding process, and then it kind of started evolving. But I would say probably around 2009, I started getting approached by window cleaners asking me if they could somehow get the code off of my website and kind of implement it into theirs. And unfortunately, it was all hard-coded in so that it wasn't really customizable, and it couldn't really work for another company. So what we did is we went ahead and kind of started working on that, and that's when I realized I could make this way better if I kind of made this like a co-op with other people. And so people started, paying me for it, and we just kind of pooled our money and made a pretty cool tool. And so our first actual release of ResponsiBid would have been 2010, and it's just been growing and growing and growing ever since.
What makes ResponsiBid different than a regular online quote request form?
Okay, that's a really good question, because initially that's really what I was building, and the more I started learning about automation and technology and what it could do, I realized that we don't want to just collect information. Like if someone's getting a quote in the middle of the night, or even in the middle of the day, it doesn't really matter, I guess. If someone's going to take the time to fill out the quote form, your best chances of closing that person is if you give them a price right away. So there's the calculation component, but there's a lot more to ResponsiBid, and we can talk about that later. But essentially, the online component of it, the part that goes onto your website, it's all geared toward taking the information from the customer, splitting it up into a bunch of little categories and components, and then in the back end of it, slicing and dicing that for you, and then also following up with the customer without you ever even knowing what's going on. So ResponsiBid is focusing on taking a lead, someone who's just interested, and converting them into a customer, and it just drives to that point of booking. And then it also will tell you which of your campaigns and which of your advertising dollars is working the hardest. So if you're going to look at all your advertising dollars as little soldiers, it's going to tell you which soldiers are working and which ones are just getting mowed down out in the battlefield every day.
What have you found with window cleaning websites around the USA? How do they measure up to other industries?
Oh, that's a good question. So obviously I see a ton of window cleaning websites, now that ResponsiBid is really running at full throttle, and I've seen everything. I do think that one thing that's kind of sad in our industry is that I think a lot of window cleaning business owners think that because our industry has been ignored by technology for the most part, and I'm not talking about Waterfed pole technology. I'm just talking about computers and high tech this and high tech that. We don't drive the kind of revenue that heating and air conditioning companies, or plumbing and electrician companies, or solar panel companies. All these really high ticket item service companies, they seem to get a lot of stuff made for their industry, and we really don't. So I think that some of the websites I've seen out there that are really, really like 1980s looking, which is actually fairly common in our industry, I think that that's kind of a result of people thinking like, oh, we're not worthy of that kind of stuff. But that's not true. People expect to just have a certain experience on the internet, and I would say that around the United States, most window cleaning companies have a fairly low tech and low quality website, which is good news for those who do have good high quality websites. It'll make you stand out more. But I think that the bar could really be raised, and it's been fun as we've unleashed ResponsiBid. I've really started seeing that bar raise, and I think it's because people are aware now that, like, hey, we can play with the big boys, and it's been really cool to see that happen.
If it's not just for the website, how would a company use ResponsiBid?
Well, so ResponsiBid it's a great tool for your website, and actually, I'll even be really honest and say that initially it was only built for the website. But as it turns out, the automation and the ability to track what your return on investment is with different advertising, your ability to track your close rate, your average ticket prices, all sorts of stuff that, like, things like QuickBooks won't track, and things like, even your really good service softwares just aren't tracking. ResponsiBid is meant to be used now, not just on the website, but out in the field by your guys. I love that when my guys are out in the field doing a job, if a neighbor comes over and asks for a quote, they just pop out their phone or tablet and they go give a quote. And I don't have to worry about the math being wrong. I don't have to worry about anything like that. I love that in the office they're automatically notified when something happens out in the field like that, and the automatic follow-ups are going to happen. No one will ever get lost in the cracks. Same thing for answering the phones. We have an office manager that takes care of all of it, but it could just as easily, one of our biggest users of ResponsiBid, who every single month in and month out, is one of the top 10 users of ResponsiBid. He actually has an answering service that answers his phone, and they are able to give quotes using ResponsiBid. So basically, it just turns your bidding system into a complete system that makes sure that no one gets lost in the cracks and that you get maximum number of dollars per job, if that makes any sense.
How come the close rate on bids from ResponsiBid users is always so high?
Okay, yeah, so that's like the ticker, like our little national average ticker that is on the Window Cleaning Resource website and a few other places on the internet. Yeah, it consistently shows that our close rate almost never drops below 80%, and in a lot of cases it's actually up in the 90% range. The reason that is because ResponsiBid is not just giving a price. I think a lot of times, again, as small business owners, we're pretty frugal people, and so sometimes when we're giving quotes to our customers, we may just give them one price, and it's just a really high price, and we hope that they take it. But sometimes I think we hold back too. We don't give them all the things that they could to, cross-sell all of our different services. What ResponsiBid does is it automatically makes sure that, number one, everybody who gets a quote already knows all the services that you provide before they even get started. So that's huge, because that helps you as a company to get your services out there and do all your cross-selling. The other thing that it does is that when it presents a price, you can always position your middle price to be the one that you're used to selling. And I think as a good high-end company, you'll probably find that your normal prices are probably higher than your competitors. That's pretty standard in the industry. With the guys who take time to work on their business have not the lowest prices, but probably not the highest prices either, or even if they are the highest prices, they only usually give one quote to the customer. But ResponsiBid, it sells the way that most retailers sell, and that is good, better, best. So if you position your normal sales item as your middle item, and you remove a few of the features or benefits from your middle item, and you're so confident that you can always upsell people, what you can do is you can put a price in front of the customer for a service that basically nobody would ever go with. But at least the price will be competitive to your competition, and probably the service will be similar to what your competition offers. So for example, my window cleaning company only offers inside and out window cleaning. Okay, so I don't I am not interested in giving someone an exterior only window cleaning, but I know that when I give a quote to somebody, there's a good chance that they've already gotten a quote from somebody else who will offer them a lower exterior only price. And especially on a first time clean, I have a real problem with somebody judging our work based on the swirls that are inside of the glass. So, so what I do is I have a basic package that will compare it as a basic price to an exterior only cleaning. I've done this before, and then in my premium package, I actually do the same as my middle package, my deluxe, which is the one we sell most of, and we find that if we add a house wash or something that's kind of a high dollar ticket item, something happens. When people look at your bids, number one, they know that you are trying to give them a good value because they've already seen the low price and they're good. But we've also used some psychological things that have been proven to work in the retail world, and that is to do what's called price anchoring. So if somebody is getting a quote and they're expecting a window cleaning that costs $20, no matter what price I give that person, they are going to be very disappointed that a window cleaning does not cost $20. So if I was just to give one price and someone was expecting $20 and the middle package, my deluxe package was $250, they're going to look at $250 and go, oh, geez, yeah, it's outrageous, right? Even though it's not outrageous, but what do they have to compare it against? So by placing the first number as the premium package, I can show a $580 package that includes washing the house, and all of a sudden they're going to think that price is outrageous, but when they move from $580 to down to $250 and they look at the next price, all of a sudden now they've anchored the other price in their head and they're going to be able to see the value, and they're truly going to be able to look and see if they can actually afford that item. And then the final thing is, of course, having that basic package at the very end will allow them to say, hey, look, if you really want to go with this one, you can go with the basic. And then what ends up happening is people call in, and when they call to book the basic package, we'll tell them, hey, look, we'll do it. We offer it because our competitors offer it, but I'll tell you, we really don't like to do the basic package because you're missing out on this. And that's where the salesmanship comes into play. But by taking those three prices, we add a ton of context, and we let the customer have an experience to where they feel like they've gotten all the three bids they need. They have the feeling of knowing, what's out on the market, and you add into that all of the follow-up and the automation that goes along with it. And we just close people all day long. I mean, if you were to sit here where I sit at the ResponsiBid command center, and people call in and they just rave like, my gosh, I'm closing more jobs at higher prices, and I'm getting bids in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping, and all that. It's because it systematically does it the right way every single time.
I see you guys are rolling out all sorts of mobile features. Why the focus on mobile?
Yeah, so actually our release that's coming out right now makes everything mobile. And the reason is because, well, for one, I was talking earlier about my technicians out in the field using it on their phones and their tablets. I mean, it worked before, but we really wanted to make it super easy for people out in the field to use it. And the other thing is that I was talking about websites earlier. Now that we're able to see from our end, we can see, whenever ResponsiBid is shown to somebody, we can see what browser they're on, and we can see what operating system they're using. So we just have a little analytic, and it just basically it sorts it all in this big aggregate, and we can look at it over time. And one of the most shocking things is that the third most popular browser of all is the Apple iOS, whether it be the phone or the tablet. And that's pretty amazing. The number one browser right now is Chrome for Windows, and right behind that, I shouldn't say right behind it, but behind that is Safari for Apple, and then it's Safari for iOS, and then behind that is like really tight. It gets really tight, like Firefox for Windows and Firefox for Mac. And anyway, so that's, of all the people who ever pull up a website that has ResponsiBid on it, that is the measurement of the browsers that are being used. And happily, Internet Explorer is one that's kind of falling almost completely away, which is great because it's such a terrible, archaic browser. Even the new versions have quite a bit of problems with them. But anyway, the point is that we're finding that there is a huge trend going where not only the administrators are the people in the app like people out in the field using it would be on their phones, but your actual customers are searching Google for a window cleaning or pressure washing company using their phone or their tablet. And so we felt it really, really important that no matter if your website is a mobile-friendly website, we wanted to make sure that ResponsiBid would fall right in line with your mobile website and present it in the most beautiful and easy-to-use form possible. So we've been spending a lot of time making everything really magically smart. Now, if your website's not mobile, if you don't have a mobile-type website, ResponsiBid's smart enough not to try to become mobile because it'll ruin your whole website. But if your website's a mobile website, ResponsiBid will go ahead and do that. So we're finding that new demographic is growing so fast that we just had to be able to meet their needs, because when you're on a mobile device and you're not using a mobile website, it's almost so maddening that you're just not going to do it.
Is there something that your software sucks at? What?
Well, obviously most people aren't going to want to talk about what their stuff does suck at, but I'll be really honest with you. There's a lot of things that our website is good at, but as of right now, our software is not good for just a commercial-only window cleaning or pressure washing company. If you're trying to use this to give commercial quotes, it can be done, and it is done all the time, but we did not build it with the intention of that. And the reason is that there's so many factors, and we didn't want to get the software so complicated that it would be difficult to use. We did just add a couple new features that would make it so you can just do a bunch of offset pricing and discount a residential price down for commercial, or add for features, commercial upgrade charges or whatever. But I would say that that's the main thing. The other thing that's important that people understand our software does not currently do is we don't currently allow you to schedule. We don't have a scheduling software. We don't have an invoicing or QuickBooks Ledger. There are a lot of things that we want to come out with, and we have a very long and defined roadmap of some super neat stuff. But I will say that if you were coming to me today and you said, my company does over 90% commercial, my next question would be to you, are you going to try and tap into the residential market? Because if you say no, I don't have any intention of growing my residential market, I would say that ResponsiBid is not going to be the right choice for you, because this is really geared towards that high-touch, unique selling proposition and automation that your homeowners are looking for. But there's not a facility manager, I don't think, on this planet that's interested in setting up their own bids through your website, and you certainly wouldn't want to do a sight unseen high-rise or whatever job. So unfortunately, that's where we downfall at this point in time.
Do upgrades cost your customers?
No, they don't. We don't charge ever for an upgrade. So once you sign up with ResponsiBid, you pay the same price that you will always pay. In fact, when I say the same price you'll always pay, I mean even when we do increase the price of our product, which we have some really neat stuff coming out within the next 6 months that we expect that the prices will go up again. But we have, like, even our original users who got in at really, really low rates, we still have people using ResponsiBid for just disgustingly cheap prices. But that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that if somebody comes in the early days and signs up with ResponsiBid while we have the functionality that we do, we always want to make every upgrade a gift. So we don't want to ever increase the price that our customers are paying. With all that said, we have upgrades that come out at least once a month. Sometimes they're bigger than others, but we're always working on something really big because of all the roadmap that we had to have ahead of us. So yeah, no matter what, we're going to keep dumping stuff into the software. We've got a full-time development team that I literally have to tell to stop coding every day. These guys, they are so excited about the product that we're building that I have to go in and say, okay guys, that's enough for today. Don't burn out. You need to go home, be with your families. And it's awesome that they're that excited, but it's really cool for the customer too, because basically everything we do is just full of passion, and I think that comes through in our software.
What is coming up next?
Well, I'm not real big on actually sharing much of the roadmap, and the reason is because when you're building something from scratch, like a house, for example, like a house has been built a lot of times, and the rules to building a house kind of don't change that much. If you're going to build a house out of lumber, you know, you can go talk to an architect, the architect can build it out, and you just kind of put it together, and you can kind of foresee what's going to happen. But what we're doing is so groundbreaking that a lot of times we don't know exactly what roadblocks we're going to hit. And sometimes things take longer than we think, and they always cost a lot more than we think they're going to cost. But I will tell you something that's very, very close that is going to be coming out very shortly. We've been working on a follow-up builder that doesn't just follow up with the new jobs, like or new bids, I should say. We have been working on a follow-up builder that actually would follow up with people who are pending, you know, saying that they want to schedule but haven't set a date. Follow up with people who have scheduled so that they get the details of the job in their inbox and are continuing to follow up and confirmed with before the job happens. A follow-up that will follow up with even people who decline to do work with you. If someone doesn't close, you can set up a way to follow up with them in a nice kind of, you know, non-confrontational but fun way. And I guess the final option would be closed jobs, repeat customers. And we've been working in the labs really, really hard on that, and we've pretty much hit all of the biggest roadblocks. We do have some pretty big things to kind of polish out, but I imagine that upgrade will be going into beta within the next month without being too presumptuous. So I think that when that comes out and our follow-up increases to not just bids, but to basically every aspect the customer's in, and all you have to do is tell ResponsiBid when they change status. If you're talking to someone, you book them. If you change their status to scheduled, or if you change their status to declined, ResponsiBid, after the scheduled job becomes history, it automatically flips the person over to closed. So pretty much just the status that ResponsiBid knows the customer's in, it will automatically either get that person to be a repeat customer or give you the best chance of possibly being able to work with that customer. So that's about all I'm willing to say at the moment. But we have, believe it or not, we have things that are even bigger than that, and we're going to blow a lot of minds over the course of the next 12 months. I'm sure of that.
How do people connect with you?
Well, as you have here on the slide here, they can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/ResponsiBid. That page you can kind of learn a little bit and kind of see some testimonials and stuff. But on our Twitter account, that's usually where we will let people know about the newest releases and any promotions if we're running a promotion or anything like that. ResponsiBid.com is probably the best place because you can request a tour of the software's back end from ResponsiBid.com. You can watch testimonial videos, you can read testimonials, you can find out all of our pricing on the website. We don't hide anything from you. The website is a really great resource. You can try ResponsiBid as far as, you know, what the customer would experience. Really cool place to do that. And of course, I'm always willing to accept an email. You can hit me up at Curt@simplesize.com. And you know, one of the things I really enjoy is helping people out. In fact, I'm going to throw another thing on there, is customerservicefactory.com. That's my video blog. That's a place you can go to be able to check out some of the things that I've run into as a business owner that, you know, were troubling, or something that I worked through that I hope would benefit another small business owner. So if you go to customerservicefactory.com, those are a few of the soapboxes that I like to stand on and have a little bit of fun with. So yeah, I'd love to talk to anybody that has any questions.